What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of a Madden 25 franchise experiment. This is something I was just going to do. I was like, you know what? That actually might be a halfway decent video. The last big piece to fall, in my opinion, for the free agency period this offseason is where is Aaron Rodgers going to go? Appears to be three teams that it is down to: the New York Giants, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Minnesota Vikings. I think in all three of those cases, Aaron Rodgers is clearly the best available option if they want to go land a veteran quarterback. So through the power of Madden 25 franchise mode, I'm going to put Aaron Rodgers on each one of those three teams with fully updated rosters to the 18th of March as far as free agency moves. We're going to go through the draft, and I'm going to approach the draft like we have 1 year of Aaron Rodgers to try to maximize that one season. And let's see which spot ends up being, in the eyes of Madden, the best landing spot for Aaron Rodgers. Can we make the playoffs with any of those teams? Do we miss the playoffs with all those teams? Let's find out. So we're going to start first with the New York Giants. I think the Giants are in a very interesting spot. There is a chance that Cam Ward goes 1 to Tennessee, Shedeur Sanders goes 2 to Cleveland Browns, and they're going to be stuck there. Do they overdraft Jackson Dart, or do you have a scenario where maybe you get Aaron Rodgers on a 1 year rental, and you kick that can of drafting and finding your next franchise quarterback to either later rounds, if maybe a Jackson Dart's in the second round, or you look at a Quinn Ewers, or a Jalen Milroe, or a Tyler Shucker, something like that, a little bit later on in the draft, and have them kind of be the understudied Aaron Rodgers, or you just kick that can to 2026, 2027. Do they enter themselves into the Arch Manning sweepstakes? I feel like out of all the available options, Aaron Rodgers gives the Giants the best shot to be competitive. I think that's going to be the same thing for the Steelers and the Vikings. I think Aaron Rodgers is the best available quarterback. I think his off-the-field persona and stuff is clouding people's judgment that, like, it's a simplistic way of looking at it, but he had, like, more touchdowns than Jaden Daniels? Similar touchdowns as Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes last year. Like, he could still play. So let's see what he can do here with the New York Giants. When you look at the New York Giants offense, it's not terrible. Like, I think the quarterback was the biggest issue. If they had somewhat decent quarterback play, not the Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito revolving door. I mean, their run game is not brutal. Their offensive line, you have a great left tackle. If everyone is healthy, that's not a bottom tier offensive line. It's nothing special, but it's not necessarily a complete liability. Could do better. Maybe that's where we'll look in the draft. Maybe improving this right-hand side a little bit. You got Theo Johnson, who's proud Canadian at tight end and gives you some upside there. You got Wanda Robinson in the slot. They paid Darius Slayton very handsomely this offseason. Kind of surprising there, but nice little role player. And then you got Malik Neighbors, who's an absolute stud. And I think Aaron Rodgers can force feed Malik Neighbors to a point that they could carry this offense to potentially a wild card spot. So the big advantage at this spot at pick number 3 for this rebuild is we're going to try and maximize the offense and put the best possible team around Aaron Rodgers that we possibly can. And in comparison to the other two teams in this scenario, the Minnesota Vikings and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they do just not have the draft capital that the New York Giants have for this year. We have Travis Hunter. We have Ted McMillan as available options here. If we want to go heavy and early on the offense, you could go tackle. Will Campbell at right tackle. We have Membu, another dog. Banks, dog. But I think for this scenario, a pick that could make sense. I know he's listed as a corner. They could go Travis Hunter. That's a popular pick. I don't hate it. But in this scenario, I think the best sure thing at wide receiver in this class is Ted McMillan, T-Mac from Arizona. So we're going to draft him to be an outside wide receiver. Number 5 in true value at pick 3. Because for every other team in this field, they're not going to have this opportunity. You know, you look at the Steelers, yes, they got DK Metcalf and you got George Pickens. They have their 2 wide receivers. You look at the Minnesota Vikings, they have their 2 wide receivers in Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. So now the New York Giants have their 2 wide receivers in Malik Neighbors and Tedario McMillan. And let's see if that is enough to elevate this offense with Aaron Rodgers to make the playoffs. Ooh, don't tell me I can continue to improve the team's second round after having a horrible test at the Combine. Tyler Booker. Talent-wise, could be a fringe first rounder. 94 in true value at 30. Ooh, okay, maybe not. Take a look at our draft recap. T-Mac, Booker, Savanyaya from Arizona. Think I got that one right. I'm Canadian. I get a pass. But if that was the haul, dude, that is very much committing to Aaron Rodgers and whoever ends up being his successor, getting 2 very, very legitimate starting caliber rookies on the offensive line, getting maybe as far as pure wide receivers. Now, there's debate whether a lot of franchises have Travis Hunter as a wide receiver. But in that just straight up, who is a wide receiver only best guy you can get in the class, it looks like it could be T-Mac. So if you can go get those pieces, you might just be able to get some success with Aaron Rodgers next season. All right, let's rock and roll. We're going to go with T-Mac at wide receiver 2 on the other side of Malik Nabers. We're going to give Tyler Booker the starting right guard job and Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. Let's see what he could do as the starting quarterback of the New York Giants. So midway through the season, we are below 500 at 3-4. Credit where credit's due. We have a top 10 passing offense. Our run game is worst in the NFL. So that certainly is not helping, and largely why we are the 31st scoring offense in the NFL. Our defense is middle of the mall with a really good passing defense. So shout out Deonte Banks for kind of putting it all together finally. Unfortunately, at the end of the year, Aaron Rodgers not good enough to drag the Giants into the playoffs. They go 7-10, last place in the NFC East. Decent passing. I mean, the passing offense was the strength of this offense, which is something that I guess he could hang his hat on. The defense wasn't too bad, just the run game non-existent, which is really unfortunate. So 7-10, Aaron Rodgers goes for just under 4,000 yards passing, 25 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Run game is, yeah, that's not, I mean, when Aaron Rodgers is like having to use his legs that much, that's not ideal. Cool that both Malik Nabers and T-Mac go over 1,000 yards. And the reason why also I'm doing this simulation is we all know Madden, the playbooks, what goes on, but like Giants can be a good playbook. Vikings can be a good playbook. Honestly, I think the Steelers are maybe the wild card. They're the one that I wasn't expecting to put up big numbers. So leave me a little disappointed with Aaron Rodgers here, especially from an interception standpoint. But I think ultimately, if you said Giant fans, you can watch in this scenario, like Nabers have a good year. T-Mac, you go get an exciting wide receiver. He has a good year, and you're still primed in a position where it's not impossible to get a top quarterback next year, but it's not a complete wash of a season because you guys were competitive, 7-10. They might take that. Now we're going to move on to Aaron Rodgers on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do feel like the Giants are the third wheel of this whole situation. I feel like they're firmly on the outside looking in. It seems like, if you're believing everything you see on social media, that the Vikings are Aaron Rodgers' first choice and the Steelers could be his backup plan. When DK Metcalf got introduced as a new member of the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe there was something along the lines of he was told what the plan is at quarterback and he was optimistic about what's going on there. That to me says Aaron Rodgers, especially looking at the other names. I don't think you'd say that if the plan was to run it back with Russell Wilson. But, you never know. But in this scenario, this Steelers offense, you feel a little bit better about this thing if you're comparing it to the New York Giants. The run games are somewhat similar. Love the addition of Kenny G. But if you can get DK Metcalf and George Pickens locked in and focused, and you give Aaron Rodgers time, these dudes up front, which is not a shabby offensive line, can give Aaron Rodgers time, he's going to be able to feed DK Metcalf and Pickens, keep them happy. Keep that squeaky wheel greased and these guys locked in, because if they stay locked in, they're going to be a problem in the AFC. You got Freiermuth, who's a really, really legit tight end. So we go into this draft. I mean, I'm going to try and figure out something on the offense to help Aaron Rodgers. I think that's going to kind of be the plan for my draft for all of these teams that we're doing. Maybe we look at a third wide receiver. Maybe we look somewhere on that right-hand side of the offensive line. But Steelers are a pretty good situation for Aaron Rodgers, I think, all things considered. So the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock at pick 21. I think the board fell somewhat decently for us as we look at the linemen. We have Josh Connerly out of Oregon. Membu is still on the board at right guard. That might need to be our pick here. Loveland at tight end. You have Matthew Golden at wide receiver after running the 4.3 flat at the combine. He became an interesting name. But I think for this, I'm going to just continue to reiterate. At Membu, in my opinion, might give us a better rating, a better starting point than what Broderick Jones had. He does have the dev trait. Unlike Jones, he went off nuclear at the combine. These ratings might need to be updated a little bit. But I think this is probably the best offensive pick available for the Steelers. And on the rare chance that Quinshon Judkins here in the second round could give us a pretty beastly rating. Number 7 in true value at 52. No dev trait, but that could be comparable to Kenny G. Jalen Warren with a lot more upside. So we got some interesting pieces. Membu sliding over to right tackle is going to be an upgrade and a starter there. Judkins, 76 overall as a rookie, is a really, really nice piece of business as well. So the addition of Membu, kind of shoring up that right-hand side of the offensive line. Let's see. We have the pace that was set. Aaron Rodgers on the Giants, 7-10. A lot of picks, not over 30 touchdowns. Yards weren't too shabby, just around 4,000. I think it's going to be a little bit better this season. So we were 3-4 at the midway point with the New York Giants. Midway point for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 4-2. When you take a look at how everything's breaking down, we were top 10 as far as points scored, almost a top 10 rushing offense. Yards are not the best. Similar looking defenses to the New York Giants, but quite the discrepancy between the run game and the pass game. Aaron Rodgers doing a lot of handing the ball off. And at the end of the season, 11-6 for the Pittsburgh Steelers into the playoffs. Wild card round. Mike Tomlin's streak of just always kind of winning remains. Looking at the offense, top 10 offense. Defenses, top 5. That's obviously quite the discrepancy if you're comparing the Giants defense to the Steelers defense. But let's take a look at what Aaron Rodgers was able to achieve. 3,800 yards, 25 touchdowns. So it's exactly what we hit with the New York Giants. Interceptions are down considerably. It's about like almost half. The run game was on point. DK Metcalf over 1,000 yards. Pickens just under. That's probably some drama that Mike Tomlin would have to do with. Freiermuth was better than expected. Just want to not really focus on the defense, but want to just curious. Highsmith, Watt, Hayward went off. Bishop, Slay with the 4 picks. Good for him. All right, let's see the playoff environment. We start Tua against Aaron Rodgers. Wild card round. Are the Steelers going to go on a run, or are they going to be just pretty much in the same spot they were with Russell Wilson, where it's like, all right, well, Mike Tomlin can get the defense, and these guys playing good enough to get into the playoffs. But once it's the best on best, are they really legitimate enough? Like, I felt like at no point with Russell Wilson at quarterback were the Pittsburgh Steelers ever going to go on a playoff run last year. It is what it is. Sucks. Well, it is right now. Defense pitching a shutout. Aaron Rodgers not turning the ball over. And it looks like the Steelers are at least going to be able to fight for one more matchup. Very dominant performance. 20-0. Tua can't believe it. And it is Aaron Rodgers getting maybe one last Cinderella run here. Let's see how long it continues. Aaron Rodgers on the day. Goes for 1 touchdown, 165 yards, kind of a passenger. But at this point, if he could just sit back, not hurt the offense, and let the defense do the work, that's a winning formula. In the division round, we get C.J. Stroud and the 10-7 Houston Texans, led by a very productive season by Joe Mixon, a top 5 offense, number 2 rushing offense. Their defense, not particularly great. Maybe this will have to be a game that Aaron Rodgers does a little bit more than be a game manager. But I'd like to think at this point, Steeler fans with 1 playoff win are already like more than happy with the decision to bring in Aaron Rodgers for a year. If you can get 2, they can go, that's playing with house money. So opening drive for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers just forcing it. Calvin Austin. Big fan of the channel. But there we go. We just had a turnover, interception, Aaron Rodgers. Low score, man. This needs to be talking about how dominant this Steelers defense is in the sim. First touchdown of the game goes to Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. Houston get on the board in the 4th. Everything to play for. Just chipping away, but at no point the Steelers have been able to close the distance. We first a turnover. Mr. Minkah Fitzpatrick, 38-yard interception. They are able to grind the game away. They're fine with not scoring points, making it look a little bit sexier. 13-7. This Steelers defense, it reminds me of that Ravens defense in the 2000s when they had Trent Dilfer as their quarterback, or Joe Flacco. As pretty much any year the Ravens have gone on a Super Bowl run, their quarterback play has been abysmal, to say the least. That's a little bit what we're getting, but winning is all that matters. 200 yards and a touchdown for Aaron Rodgers, and the Steelers are in the AFC Championship game. Not gonna lie, I might have messed up here a little bit. I kind of put the Vikings at the end. I thought they would be the most successful landing spot, and here we are, a win away from going to the Super Bowl. Did Aaron Rodgers get played away? He did not. It was Highsmith with the hat trick of sacks. But now with this defense, it's going to be put to the test against Josh Allen and the 15-2 Buffalo Bills. The number 1 offense, number 2 passing offense, the number 1 defense. Oh boy. I'm pretty sure these guys are buddies too. I watched the Aaron Rodgers documentary. Cool, I guess. But it does seem like him and Josh Allen are buddies. This is a cool matchup. But Pittsburgh Steelers, very much a Cinderella run team. When you look at the Buffalo Bills, clearly the juggernaut in the NFL right now. So it's going to have to take this defense that has been elite. A monumental effort. And look at that, man. They are pitching a shutout in the first half. That is outstanding from Mike Tomlin and his defense. Can we get a touchdown here? Field goals are not going to be good enough. Our defense is playing outstanding. 6-3. This is disgusting football. Football terrorism. First touchdown goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bills are desperate after a 7-yard TJ Watt sack. They're going for it on 4th down. They don't get it. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. They just took down the #1 offense, #1 defense, the Bills. Not good. That is a very unhappy fan base. Aaron Rodgers, the dream continues. This is insane. Technically, outduels the best quarterback in the NFL, the MVP, Josh Allen. Steelers in the Super Bowl with, wow. Baker Mayfield and the Bucs have ran the gauntlet on the NFC side. Very interesting Super Bowl. Bucs had the third best offense, third most potent passing offense, third overall defense. Kind of similar. They're just like a light version of that Bills team that we just defeated. And with the way that our 88 overall defense is playing, I got all the confidence in the world. Aaron Rodgers is going to go out on top here. Let's see it. Baker Mayfield. I mean, I'll tell you right now, Aaron Rodgers definitely probably thinks he has the edge. If it's me versus Baker Mayfield. That's a good team over there, though. This would be hilarious. Oh, man. I was going to say, like, should I just move it and make this the third team just because it'll finish the video on a high note? No! Because we're going to get the Super Bowl with the Vikings as well. I'm confident. I'm going to show faith in Aaron Rodgers. But look at that. Oh, this defense. I've never seen, like, I wish this was a rebuild. I've never seen a defense this freaking dominant. Look at this. 10-0. Like, 10-0 might be enough with how this defense is playing. They have not... I have not seen a defense play that well in this game ever. Carried this team. And, hey, Aaron Rodgers on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ladies and gentlemen. I guess he gets that defense going on retreats in the woods. Taking things from the earth, making them feel weird and tingly. Gets them to unlock their third eye of potential. That's insane. At no point did I think I was going to... I woke up. I was like, you know what? That's going to be a cool video, maybe. I'll make that. We'll see what happens. Thought playoffs was at best. Like, maybe a win. Well... Here you go, Steelers fans. Wasn't necessarily because of Aaron Rodgers, but bring in Aaron Rodgers, Super Bowl champions. We're going to the Vikings just to show my work here. No forced wins, no nothing. This was 0 points allowed against the Dolphins. 7 points allowed against the Texans. The Bills, who are elite offense, only 10. So that's 17 points allowed in 4 playoff games. Insane. And in our last landing spot, we have Aaron Rodgers on the Minnesota Vikings. Quite the challenge now. The top one he was able to do with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I think this is, by all reports right now, his preferred landing spot. I think it makes sense if the Vikings don't think J.J. McCarthy is 100% ready. Because this is a win-down team. And if Kevin O'Connell, who I think is one of the best head coaches in the NFL, agrees with this decision, that like we are win now, Aaron Rodgers gives us the best chance to win now, it'll be immensely beneficial for J.J. McCarthy to just simmer. You know, you go the Aaron Rodgers under Brett Favre approach, 2 years, and then one and done for Aaron Rodgers because you got Aaron Jones and Mason. That was a great business, get Mason from the Niners. You got Justin Jefferson and Addison, one of the best 1-2 punches. You throw in Hawkins into the mix, you laugh. And you look at the offense in our first round, we're going to go offensive line here at guard. You're going to have a very, very competent offensive line with an outstanding tackle duo in Brown O'Neal and Darissaw. This is, that's why I put them last in the video, I think the best landing spot for Aaron Rodgers. There is the most in place for him just to be the facilitator to drive this team back into the playoffs. So with the 24th pick in the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft, we are looking for the best interior lineman available. It could be Gray Zabel. We got Trapio. Honestly, I might just say screw it and go Membu again. What do we got here? B.A. Oh, okay. He actually looks legit in this scenario. So we're going to go with Gray Zabel to be our left guard. Number 14 in true value. at pick 24 with a dev trait, plug and play. Our offense is complete. Damn, I did not know that that was that light of a picks situation for the Vikings, but you got to hit at 24 if that is the case, and that's exactly what we were able to do. On the offseason, here's a look at our Vikings squad. We added Zabel in the first round of the draft, giving us really a complete offense. Everything is in place for Aaron Rodgers to potentially equal what we just achieved with the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's just going to come down to the fact of, hey, let's see. And I do think, I'm gambling at minimum, this is going to be the best statistical year of the three. A very interesting place to be. Mid-season 4-3, maybe even more shockingly, the Detroit Lions are 1-6. We have the third most potent passing offense in the NFL, almost a top 10 offense. Defense slacking just a little bit. It feels a little bit better this time because it feels a little bit more like Aaron Rodgers is dragging this team to success than relying on the defense like we did with Pittsburgh. Wow, we missed the playoffs 7-10. You could have got 7-10 with McCarthy. I mean, the offense didn't look too bad. It's that 27th ranked defense that probably hurt us. Aaron Rodgers, just under 4,000. He had 38 touchdowns, 4th in the NFL. 14 picks is a little high. Throw in the 2 rushing that he had a 40 bomb. I don't think there's anyone right now that if you told Viking fans, without the context of the record, Aaron Rodgers will get you 40 touchdowns next year if you bring him in for 1 year. I think every single one is going, yep, let's let McCarthy sit for another year. We had 2,000-yard receivers. Jalen Naylor went double-digit touchdowns. Hawkinson had a decent season. The defense just completely let us down. Wow. Hey, there you have it. In the eyes of Madden 25, the one team that would benefit the most, apparently, by signing Aaron Rodgers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who'd go on and win a freaking Super Bowl. So we will see how this plays out over the next couple of days. And really, in my opinion, I mean, there's some other veterans still out there, like Von Miller and guys like that. This is, in my opinion, the last big tree to fall for free agency. Where is Aaron Rodgers going to go? Pittsburgh, hopefully you're watching. Well, that'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comment section below where you think Aaron Rodgers should go if you're a fan of any of the 3 teams. Giants, Steelers, Vikings. I'd like to hear what you guys are saying. What's the vibe right now? And obviously, this is a little bit of a quicker video because behind the scenes, I am slowly but surely working on our newest 20-year rebuild. It's going to be a banger. I'll spoil the team. It is the Carolina Panthers. We get to play pretty much the entirety of Steve Smith and Julius Pepper's career. We are doing ridiculous things with those two. That will hopefully be dropping on the channel tomorrow. So I will see you guys then. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace. I love you. Have a good one.